And then Sport sits down on the bleachers to take a drink of water. Ooh, Harriet's hiding underneath. You see her eyes peeking out. She says, Sport, I need your help. She says, I need the keeper of the oaths. What's that? Sport tells the coach that he has to leave and use the restroom. And he whispers to Harriet, the oath book's at the bottom of my locker. For a second there, I thought Harriet was going to follow Sport into the boys' locker room, but I think that's just the regular lockers in the hallway. And you see Harriet's digging around in there. And Harriet's digging around in Sport's locker, and she can't find what she's looking for. Then Sport bangs on the locker, and a secret hidden compartment opens up. And inside is a picture of what appears to be Sport and his dad, and also a book. Oh, that's the book from the beginning that said H&J. So, the keeper of the oaths, how many oaths did they write down when they were younger? So I guess there were a lot of things that Harriet and Janie vowed to never do, and dancing school is just one of them. And Harriet's getting ready to tell Sport about the oath that she did and regret, and now she wants to do a counter oath. Or, I'm sorry, she did the counter oath, but now she wants to do a counter oath. And then we hear a different coach saying, Sport, get back here. That coach is a guy. I don't think we saw him. We saw the lady gym teacher from the rope scene last month. So I don't know who that guy is. I assume that's another coach. So Sport heads back to his basketball practice, and Harriet follows him. And yeah, see, there's Harriet sitting there, and she's in her school uniform. She's got her lawn socks on, and her right leg, our left, her right, has the bandage on it, and the sock is down. But the dance class, it was her left sock that was down, and it had no bandage on it. So does that mean that Harriet's had her bandaged leg covered up during the dance class? Seems kind of strange that she would have the opposite sock down and have the sock on the bandaged leg all the way up. Huh. There's two other kids on the bleachers. There's some guy sitting there, and that girl, I believe, was one of the girls who agreed with the boy who said a coat is a coat. That other boy on the right is one of the basketball players. I don't think we ever saw him before. And as Sport is playing, he's trying to talk to Harriet, said, hey, you find anything helpful? Harriet says, no. Sport says, who was your witness when you did the counter oath? But Harriet and Janie didn't have a witness. She didn't think counter oaths would need a witness. Sport says, yes, they do. Page 27, Article 4, Section B. How old were they when they wrote these oaths? Did they write an entire sophisticated book with page numbers and section letters and article sections and possibly even an index and a table of contents? It seems to me that Harriet's already a great writer. What does she need to go spying for? And Harriet flips a bunch of pages in the book, and she finds something that's kind of gives her a light bulb in her head. And then we see Harriet and Sport standing in front of the dancing school, and Janie's climbing up the steps. And then they sit on the steps together and read this part of the book. Like any other oath, a counter oath must have a witness. Without one, it's invalid. And apparently, therefore, the counter oath that they just did was invalid. So it seems like they went into that dancing school against the vow, because the counter oath supposedly didn't work. But they already started the dancing school, so how are they going to get out now? Harriet still has her heart set on going back in there and going berserko and then getting kicked out for good. But Janie wants to redo the counter oath with Sport as the witness. Harriet says, no, if we do that, we'd be defending the rule that says that girls can't lead. And Janie kind of reluctantly says, all right, an oath is an oath. And so they go back inside and start the class, and they're warming up and doing stretches. Mr. Dubois says, Miss Welch, I appreciate the attitude adjustments. I guess Harriet's doing pretty good at looking a little bit happier about this class. She even gives the instructor a little salute. And then asks Janie, so what's the plan? Janie says, ask Pinky to ask you to dance. That sounds very much like a Peppermint Patty gimmick. Or maybe even a Sally gimmick. Because they both wanted to ask their crushes to ask them to go to parties and to the movies and stuff. Sally kept asking Linus to ask her, and Peppermint Patty kept asking Charlie Brown to ask her. Sort of. In kind of a weird, twisted, psychological way. Then Harry goes up to Pinky and says, Pinky, ask me to dance. Pinky says, okay, wait, is this a trap? Pinky? And we see Pinky's face all close up with sweat going down his forehead and says, may I have this dance? Harry says, my pleasure. And then off they go. Mr. Dubois happily says, she surrendered to the joys of dance. They always do. Until very soon, sir. Miss Welsh is playing you like a cheap cello. When Harriet gets over to Janie, she says, "What now?" Then Janie backs away from Purple Socks and then proceeds to take off her gloves and tosses them away. And then Harriet does the same, much to Mr. Dubois' horror. Then they hold out their naked hands, and Pinky and Purple Socks both look at the girls and they're like, "What? Do they really want us to touch their hands like that?" And Pinky looks very nervous about this. Then we see Harriet and Pinky in slow motion. Their hands are getting closer and closer together as Mr. Dubois says, "The germs, the coarseness, the horror." And he passes out. He doesn't stay passed out for long, though. He eventually looks up and says, "You two, go!" And that's it. They get kicked out.